Got Vetiver, guys? Let's get into it. First off, I want to thank you for being here at the Scentatar channel. This is where we discover new fragrances, we learn about them, and we find new fragrances that are going to fit our collections. So, today we're going to be talking about Vetiver fragrances. Vetiver is a very interesting fragrance note. Vetiver, usually, a lot of the time we think of it as an earthy smell, kind of a dark kind of note. But Vetiver is actually a lot more versatile than we think. A lot of the time it's used to give fragrances a body, and it can even have a clean, kind of sharp kind of smell, and almost smell like a patchouli. So guys, Vetiver is a very great note. I don't think it gets enough appreciation in the fragrance world, and a lot of the Vetiver fragrances smell very refined, classy, and elegant. Guys, they certainly do. Let's get into them. Let's talk all about them. So, before I start the top 5, I have 2 honorable mentions. These fragrances smell a little bit like Vetiver and kind of have the feel, but the Vetiver isn't particularly noticeable, but they're certainly great. And all these fragrances are modern fragrances, even though they're refined and you could say gentlemanly. They're not dated, they're not old, they don't smell bad in any way, guys. Most of them are very classy, and let's get into it. The first one I have for you is D Squared's Wood. D Squared Wood is a very great fragrance. I've mentioned it in my reviews before. It has a violet leaf note that smells very good. It smells kind of watery overall. This fragrance smells slightly aquatic, but it has a good amount of woodiness. That violet leaf that's in Dior Fahrenheit definitely helps it have a little bit of masculinity, and it has a little bit of Vetiver too, so it has a nice rugged nature, but it's certainly modern. I think this is a great fragrance for a gentleman or a mature man, maybe a 25 plus, maybe 30 plus. And it's a good, easy to reach fragrance, just easy to grab and wear every day. It certainly is affordable, guys. So D Squared's Wood is really good, and Rocky Mountain Wood is certainly good as well. That one has a little bit of a different feel. It's a little bit drier, a tiny bit spicier. I'd recommend that one too, guys. So this is John Varvatos Artisan Pure. So this one was getting a good amount of hype about a year or so ago, with good reason, guys. This fragrance is refined, elegant. It has, I think, the best masculine florals in a designer fragrance. The best one we've had for a very long time, guys. This stuff is a very good aromatic kind of fragrance, but it's citrusy as well. It's fresh and clean. A lot of people think I might be a naysayer. I think this does have a little bit of a lemon lime type of smell, like you might smell in a soda, but that's not bad, guys. This fragrance, that kind of gives it a mass appealing DNA. It has a little bit more of a body. I wouldn't say it's resinous, but it definitely in the dry down has more fullness than you would expect with a typical fresh fragrance. So it's fresh and clean off the top. It still has a little bit of a lemon lime feel to it, but then it has more of a body to it in the dry down. It has a little bit more sweetness. So this one actually has a very interesting composition, and for an affordable fragrance, for a designer fragrance, this is very good, guys. Very good stuff, especially for the gentleman. And for your fresh fragrance, you can't do much better than this, guys. So I'd get your nose on it. Now, guys, we're getting into the top 5. Right before I start, these fragrances are classy. They're affordable, especially if you get them from discounters, because these are designer fragrances, but these fragrances are a little bit unique. Again, I wanted to make this review because a lot of guys out there ask from time to time. They say, they ask me or they ask somebody else, I have all these fragrances and they smell the same. They're aquatic. They might have a lot of fragrances that smell like Sauvage or Invictus or whatever it might be. and they say all these designer fragrances smell the same, or people keep recommending fragrances that smell the same. Guys, vetiver fragrances are not as mainstream as perhaps those certain aquatics, and certainly even now some of those sweet, spicy fragrances like Dolce & Gabbana 1 that are quite popular have a mass appealing DNA. These fragrances are going to help you to stand out, but still are very mass appealing. Very good fragrances. Let's get into them, guys. First one I have for you is Terre de Hermes Eau Très Fresh. So, this is Terre de Hermes, guys, but it has more citrus to it. It has 3 citrus notes. I'm convinced it's probably a lemon, a neroli, and something else going on in there. It has the Terre de Hermes DNA. We can't deny that it has an invigorating vetiver, but it also has invigorating kind of soil or earthiness to it. But it still smells kind of clean. It still smells kind of airy. This one has a bright orange note off the top, so it smells clean. This one is more appropriate, I think, for all year wear, so it can be pulled off in the summer. It's refreshing. You get decent longevity out of it, and it certainly gets you good attention. It smells refined. So guys, Eau Très Fresh is one I think that, I don't know if it's a hidden gem, but it's not appreciated as much as it could be, or maybe should be. So guys, beautiful fragrance, beautiful scent DNA. You could wear this all the time, every day if you wanted. I guess we'll get the Terre de Hermes fragrances out of the way. Here's the original OG Terre de Hermes. This one just has a little bit more earthiness to it. It has a little bit more of the vetiver, but what makes this fragrance makes it even more daring, or a little bit more unique than the Eau Très Fresh, that instead of kind of a bright citrusy feel, it has more of a rugged and more of a, maybe a gentlemanly smell because of more of a kind, not a dirty orange, but maybe an aged orange, maybe a dried orange, like dried fruit. So the orange off the top certainly isn't as fresh, but it helps this fragrance have even more of a masculinity. It has even more personality. So guys, if you're 35 plus, if you wanted something that's classy, easy to wear, but has a little bit of fruitiness to it without something sweet that's not sweet or juvenile in any way, this fragrance is upscale. This, guys, I think it really should go down in the Fragrance Hall of Fame. This is the kind of fragrance that's inspired Dunhill Icon, Artisan Pure, like was mentioned. It really has changed the fragrance game in a really good way. So guys, this is a very good fragrance. I'd highly recommend it for the mature gentleman. Don't sleep on it, guys. It was getting a lot of hype. Not as many people are talking about it anymore. I don't know why, but it's beautiful juice, beautiful fragrance. I'd highly recommend it. Green Noir. Now guys, I know some of you guys don't need much of an explanation on this. I know a lot of you guys already know about it, but let me talk a tiny bit about it just for the guys who don't know about this fragrance. I'll make it short and sweet. Guys, if you're the guy who likes to wear leather, if you're the kind of guy who likes to wear a black suit, if you're the kind of guy who doesn't take, any what from anybody, you're very serious, put together type of man, this is the fragrance for you. It's very dark. It certainly has vetiver. It's very manly, but it still has kind of a bright aromatic feel overall. But it's very, very woody. Some people say they get an inky vibe out of it. Guys, this is mature sophistication for a steal of a price. You can get this at discounters for about 30 bucks. So guys, this stuff is daring. I'd say almost like a niche fragrance. So this might not appeal to everyone who smells it off of you. You might offend a few people, definitely if you wear too much. So guys, it's a beautiful fragrance though. It's for the man who knows what he wants, and he's not gonna have it any other way. So that's Encre Noir. Sorry if this vetiver list is dominated by Hermes. They're some of the best people in the game who do vetiver, especially the designer field. This list does not have some of the special, more expensive fragrances that do Vetiver very well. And the designer world, Hermes, is just about the best people to go to for Vetiver, in my opinion. So, please forgive me for that. Guys, this is Hermes Roquebar. This fragrance has a classic DNA to it, but certainly is not dated. I think it's really a timeless fragrance. It has a little bit of that classic DNA, that kind of allspice DNA, where it's a little bit spicy and herbal and invigorating. But it certainly does have vetiver, a little bit of maybe a fullness. Maybe it does have a little bit of orange blossom, but it smells invigorating. It smells clean, classy, refined. Guys, if you're an upstanding gentleman, if you didn't know where to turn to for like a classic fragrance, for an timeless fragrance, for an upstanding fragrance, Roquebar is one you want to reach for, guys. It has a little bit of that classy DNA, but it has a little bit of modern sensibility to it, a tiny bit of sweetness, not too much spiciness, not too much vetiver. It certainly is classy. It seems to punch all the buttons in the right places, guys. So Roquebar is, I think, one that needs to, gentlemen need to know more about it, guys. It's a great fragrance. I'd highly recommend it. So it has a little bit more of an ambery and a tiny bit more of a spicy feel to it, but not too much, guys. It just does everything right. Roquebar by Hermes. So guys, we're gonna jump into the final Hermes. I'm not an Hermes spokesperson, and again, I've never been paid for any of my reviews or anything that I've ever said on these videos. So this is Bellamy Vetiver by Hermes. So let me smell it real quick for you. Bellamy Vetiver. Oh man, it's beautiful. It has a little bit of vetiver off the top, like in your Dior Fahrenheit, but it has a little bit of a kind of vetiver type of feel with a tiny bit of sweetness to it. It's invigorating, but it doesn't have as much vetiver as the other Hermeses, I think. Even though it's a vetiver fragrance, I feel that this fragrance just has more of a fullness, more of a little bit more of a resinous feel. This one doesn't feel like it has the amber. This one isn't as spicy, and this one doesn't have much of the orange citrus kind of feel to it. It just smells classy and smooth. This one you can't notice the transitions in the fragrance as much as other ones, but it's beautiful. It's high quality. It certainly is classy, guys. So if you're the kind of guy a gentleman for sure, who wants a fragrance that it just smells very classy. If you're going for just the pure elegance, the pure, if you're just a guy who's just really wanting to make the statement on how wealthy you are or how well put together you are, but Bellamy Vetiver by Hermes is the kind of fragrance to wear. It smells the most sophisticated and the most classy out of all these vetiver fragrances, even though they do smell, they all smell very well put together. And I think a lot of them do smell very classy. This one perhaps is the most classy. So guys, if you wanted that kind of fragrance, if you've been looking for it, if you wanted fragrances that can really stand up to the elegance of fragrances like Platinum Egoist and the like, guys, don't sleep on this one. It's a beautiful fragrance. I'd recommend you get your nose on it. So guys, I thank you for being here with me on my review of the best designer vetiver fragrances. This has been an enjoyable review to make. There certainly are a lot of beautiful fragrances out there, and there's perhaps a few fragrances even in the designer world that do vetiver very well. I do know of a couple. I'll give them their own reviews, but I felt these fragrances, for the most part, highlighted vetiver in the very best way. So I hope you smell some vetiver fragrances. I hope you enjoy them. Let me know if you own any of these fragrances. Let me know what you think about vetiver as a fragrance note. Let me know how I'm doing on these reviews, how I can improve, guys, I thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Until next time, guys, I'll see ya on the Centaur channel. Bye.